So I'm finally getting around to recording an eyebrow tutorial. Thank you so much for being patient. I decided to break this up into 2 videos. So for today's video, I'm going to go over how I fill in my eyebrows and kind of go over how to determine the shape of your eyebrows and where to fill them in. And then for the next video, I'm going to find a model with more of a sparse eyebrow hair grow out, or they need more help to completely redrawing in the shape of their eyebrow. So that will be a video that I'll record in the future. But as I said before, today's I'll just focus on mine. I'll go over which products I use and kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to kind of shape and groom your eyebrows. So let's get started. So now that I'm zoomed in, I'm going to go over how to determine your eyebrow shape. All you need for this really is your eyebrow pencil, or you can use the bottom of a makeup brush or anything straight. So the first step is to determine where it should be starting in this area right here. So just take your pencil and hold it on the outside of your nose, and this is the point where your eyebrow should be starting. As you can see, this eyebrow does start there, but this one falls a little short. A lot of people's eyebrows don't grow in this far, so I will show you with this eyebrow, I guess, to mimic this look and still making it look like a real brow. And then for the next step, it's to determine where your arch should be. So starting in this position, you just kind of want to rotate it towards the center of your eye. So I'm going to look forward here. Make sure it's going through the center, and then this is where your arch should be. There's this one. And this one. Now, I'm kind of in the process of growing in my eyebrows slightly. I was over tweezing a little bit in this area and over tweezing the tail. So it's still sort of in a grow out phase, but I'm almost where I want it to be. So I decided to film it now since I've kind of been waiting so long to get to this tutorial. But anyway, so for the third one, so 1, 2, and then 3 is to determine where your tail should end. So that in the same position at your nose, just rotate it to the corner of your eye, and this is where your eyebrow should be ending. My eyebrows didn't get to this point for a while because I was over tweezing and it was taking a while to fill in. So it was taking a while to kind of grow in this area, but I've been really patient and trying to grow them out. It's been a hell of a time, but I'm getting there and it's totally worth it. A lot of people are guilty of over tweezing. I am one of them, and I'm trying to break the habit, but I promise you it will be worth it in the long run. As we age, our hair tends to grow in more sparse, especially in the eyebrow and eyelash area. So to kind of help that as you're older, don't over tweeze now. Also, over tweezing happens a lot in this area. Like I said, I was kind of over tweezing there and kind of going up to the arch from this point. But what you really want is, there pretty much is like an invisible line starting here and connecting up to the arch. So any hair that's kind of not in this area, you want to draw in and mimic. That's why I've kind of been growing them out, because I was tweezing all this hair, so it was like missing the spot in here. And this is where a lot of people over tweeze and start tweezing. You don't want your like arch to begin here and then go up or be rounded. You want a unison line from the inner corner to the arch here to here, and then fill all this in. Okay, so let's get started. Also, before you fill them in and as you're kind of watching them grow, just remember that eyebrows are sisters and not twins. I learned that in that saying in beauty school, and it's kind of stuck with me ever since. Everyone's eyebrows are kind of going to grow a little different, so don't expect them to be perfect and perfectly symmetrical with each other. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be exactly the same. Even with mine, you can tell that this one grows in a little thinner here than this one does, and even in the inner corner you can see that this one gets a little more bushy, I guess, at this point, and this one is more unison. Now I do trim this hair right here so it doesn't go up too far. So what I do is kind of just brush up the hair, and anything that sticks up over this brow line, I just take mini scissors and just trim it, and then tweeze anything that comes above that. I also don't really tweeze a lot above my eyebrows. I like it to be more of a natural shape, but it's completely up to you if you want to. I just think, especially recently, natural brows are more in, so I definitely think that you should kind of try to leave your shaping to this area right here. Unless you have a lot of hair up here, then feel free to kind of do it a little bit. Just again, don't over tweeze. Let's get into the steps for how I fill mine in. So first, I will go over what I use. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz pencil. And this one is in dark brown. I switch between soft brown and dark brown. A soft brown in their color is more of like a warm brown, and this one is a little more of a cool color to match the darkness of my eyebrows. They sell these online on her website, but also at Ulta and in Sephora. I do kind of recommend maybe going in there and checking them out so you can match more instead of trying to guess online, because sometimes it's just not accurate. I tend to choose a color that's slightly lighter than my eyebrow hair just because I'm filling them in and I don't want them to be too dark. So on one end is the spoolie, which will be your best friend when doing your brows. I use this so much. And then on the other end is the actual pencil, and it's super soft and it's retractable, so you can twist it up and it will also, I don't know if you can see it, but you can also twist it back down, which is nice because some pencils don't do that. Excuse my fingernails, they are stained with hair dye. Okay. So first, what you want to do is take your spoolie. If you don't have one of these pencils, just get like a dry mascara wand and you can kind of accomplish the same thing. And you want to start by brushing up your eyebrow hairs. And remember that imaginary line I was talking about earlier? That's what I kind of start the whole process with. I will go in and remember to keep the pressure very, very light. You don't want to see big streaks of lines as you do this because you want it to mimic natural brow hair. So try to keep your hand very, very light and make these motions in like little flicks or strokes throughout the whole process. So this is where I kind of draw in the imaginary line. Very soft hands, and I connect the inner corner to the arch. Then from there, I connect the arch to the tail in the same sort of motion. Again, very light. As you fill in, you want to go in the direction that your eyebrow hair grows. So for this, I kind of go sideways and then I kind of start going down as I'm on this side. Now, I like a more natural brow, so I don't recreate this step up top. But if you like a more structured brow, you can do this exact same thing on the top to create your guide. So from here, you want to start filling in. I just go along this line and fill in. And in the beginning, your eyebrow hair grows in an upwards motion. So I'll begin by filling in upwards and then start shifting sideways as I go down the brow. And then when I fill in the tail, I want to fill in down. Again, very light strokes. And this part is where I start to fill in between that original guide. Now I'm doing the same thing. In the tail. Now that I've done that, I'll kind of move towards the middle and top of the brow and just continue filling in anywhere that needs. So sorry about some of the flaking skin here. I got a chemical peel last week and I still have some remnants around my hairline and under my neck, so just ignore it. So after that, that's when I kind of go back in with the spoolie and I will brush through all of this to make it blend together, and again giving it a more natural look. My pressure in the inner corner is a little harder just to make this the softest area, and then I'll just kind of let up on the pressure and continue to brush as I go down. My natural eyebrow, to me, for my preference, doesn't have a pronounced enough arch up at the top or give me enough of a lifted look, so I will go in and kind of draw that in, again using the same pressure. So connect it from here and just overdraw slightly above your natural, where your natural hair grows. And then connect back down towards the tail. As you can see, it's more of an arch. It is a little dark right now, so go back in with the spoolie and blend everything together. I am using one of the darker shades that I switch between, so it will be a little more dramatic. But this is usually the pencil I use for like my nighttime look, just to make my brows more defined. And just keep brushing up to your liking. And you can already see the difference in these brows. Definitely fuller, thinner, and look how more lifted this eye looks. Once I'm done with the other brow, I will go back through and clean up underneath these brows with concealer, but I just wanted to wait until I was finished with this one. So let's move on to that. And like I said before, this one doesn't grow in as far, so I kind of want to show you, it's the same basic technique, you just want to bring your guideline out a little further to where it should be. So, brush up your brow hair. And just bring it out a little further, like that. There's your guide. As you can see, I'm still growing in hair here. This is where you don't want to be tweezing. We're filling that in later. And then start filling in like we did before. Again, filling in with strokes with a very light hand. When you're flicking, this is kind of mimicking the natural way that your eyebrow hair grows, so this helps make it look more realistic. This part, just start flicking up. And there you go. See how natural that looks? And then you still will go through again and brush through. Then I'm going to fill in my arch. What I do next is just kind of brush through again. I'm telling you, I think I really overuse the spoolie, but I'm always so paranoid that my brows don't look natural. So gonna probably go overboard a little bit, and then my eyebrows get all red because my skin's sensitive. The struggle, I guess. So my next step is to go in with the concealer and kind of sharpen the edge a little bit. So this is a MAC, I don't know if this says 135 or 195, but it's like a dense synthetic brush and it has a point to it. And the bristles are pretty firm, so when you are carving out your brows, the bristles aren't moving all over the place. So what I'll do is I'll just use my regular concealer and just put a little bit on the back of my hand, like so. And then just kind of dip in my brush on the side, like at the sharp point. And I'll go in and sharpen up underneath. And re-carve out that shape. Now that looks very scary. So then what I do is wipe off again on my hand any excess product and use this brush and just kind of bring it down a little bit, bring down the concealer slightly, and use my fingers to just blend it all out. I don't really carve out the top just because, again, it keeps it more natural, but that's the finished effect with that. Make sure your concealer is not too light either, or you're gonna look like a crazy person. To put it lightly, I guess. So same thing on this side. Little strokes, just running it underneath where you made that initial guideline. And carving that out, wiping any excess off, and just drag it down. And there you have it. So to finish this off, what I will do so my eyebrows hairs kind of stay in place and stay lifted is to use this NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel. It's clear. So I used to use the Maybelline Great Lash Mascara in clear, and that works just as well as like an eyebrow gel. I think they're both around the same price point though, so you could use either. Again, it's the Maybelline Great Lash Clear Clear Mascara. But a lot of people have difficulties finding this NYX brand, so that's a good alternative. So then I just go through and brush up my eyebrow hair and make sure I get this throughout and place the hair where I want it to sit. Okay, so I zoomed back out so you can get the whole effect with the eyebrows done. It looks a little scary when it's so close. They do look a little darker, but when you can see the full effect, you can see how much having your eyebrows done pulls your whole look together. In my day-to-day makeup routine, I always do my eyebrows. So foundation, brows, mascara, and concealer are like my go-to. Just because I feel like having your brows done completely pulls your look together and kind of is the framework for your face. So with this video, you feel a little more comfortable filling them in and knowing where to fill them in. I think that's the problem a lot of the time. I hope this helped. Feel free to ask me any questions, whether it be product or technique or anything. The way that I showed you how to figure out where your eyebrows sit is true for every face shape. And I hope this video helped. As always, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'm looking forward to seeing you for the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!